Hey, hi Pragya. Welcome to the Big Data Show. Will
Hi,
you please, yeah, hi Pragya. Will you please give one brief introduction about yourself before starting the Big Data show mock interview?
sure, Ankur. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. My name is Pragya. Currently, I'm working as a data engineer at ZS for almost 2.5 years. And here, currently, my responsible is to write a PySpark script so as to ensure efficient data loading and transformation. And my experience include working with SQL, PySpark, AWS EMR, EC2, Glue, and Athena. And yeah, I'm continuously working, upskilling myself in the data engineering field and learning about the optimization that we should follow while writing the script. Yeah, that's a brief introduction from my end.
Cool. Will you please explain some of your project where you have used Glue, Athena, and EMR, all those things that you have mentioned?
Yeah, so currently we are working on a project. So in this project, we are getting the data from three distinct sources. The
Mm-hmm,
first source is our S3. So
mm-hmm,
in our S3 location, we have data in the CSV and the Parquet format. Like before, the second one is our Oracle DB, and the third is our MySQL DB.
okay.
So for the first data which we were getting in the S3 location, the like there is a team which is sending this file to us in the in the S3 location. So
Mm-hmm,
first, the optimization which we have followed here is that the team was giving us the CSV format data. So we have asked the team to give us the data in the Parquet format because
mm-hmm,
because we know that the raw data which we are getting, like if there are 100 of columns, we don't require 100 of columns, we just require 10
mm-hmm,
or 12 of columns. And reading the data from the CSV from the Parquet is much more optimized than reading the data from the CSV file format,
okay.
because Parquet store the data in the column file format. What I mean by column file format is that the all the data, like for the like if I have the ID column, all the data related to the ID column is stored at one place. So reading the data from the Parquet is much more optimized than the CSV. The other thing is also that like Parquet store less amount of space as compared to the CSV file format. So there we have optimized, like we have done this process to optimize our process. The second and the third data source is our Oracle and the MySQL DB. So while reading the data from this Oracle and MySQL DB, we have used a JDBC connection to read the data from this DB server. And while reading the data from this server, like DB, we have also used four parameters, like number of partitions column, and lower bound and the upper bound. So why we have used this is that, like for example, if I have uh, uh, like 1 lakh of data, so what this do is, like number of partitions, it open, like if I mention number of partition is equal to 10, and that open 10 connections to our DB server. And the for the partition column, so like in order to identify which column we have to keep as a partition column, we have to check like if there is some numeric column is present, or if any date or timestamp is present, or if any primary key is present there or not. So by identifying the by reading the data, we can identify the partition column. And the lower bound and the upper bound, we have kept like the lower bound is 0 and the upper bound is 1000. So what this lower bound and the upper bound signify is that, like while opening the 10 connections, it will read the 1 lakh of data in this way, like select star from the table where ID is greater than 1 and it is less than 1000. Then the other connection will read the data in this way, like select star from table where ID is greater than 10,000, 1001, and it is less than 20,000. So it will read the data in this way, and this way has optimized our way because it has concurrently read the data. So
Okay,
this
so
has
I hope you are using Apache Spark to read data from Parquet and also from Oracle and MySQL Server. and you have
Yes.
optimized it. I got the extract part. What? Let's move to the next part.
Yeah, so after extracting the data from these three data sources, we have used a transformation. So for transformation, we have always done like we have always filtered out the data, whatever is not required, so that like during our like when doing our join or group by the unnecessary data is not shuffled. We have used a join operation. We have used a window function as well wherever there is a requirement. So these all transformations we have done, and after doing the transformation while saving the
So
data.
sorry to disturb. So you are doing all your transformation using Apache Spark. Am I right?
So while doing all the transformation or the business requirement, whatever is the business requirement, we do the transformation in that way. And while saving the data, we also connect with our like data science team and the data analyst team, and we ask them like on which column they query the data frequently, so that while
Mm-hmm.
saving the data, we can partition the we can use a partition by, and we can save the data in that format in the Parquet file format. So after writing all this script, we make a jar file, and we dump that jar file into our EMR, and we have used Airflow as our scheduling service.
Cool. So you have extracted data from multiple sources, then you have used Apache Spark to write your transformation. Then again, while writing data, you are doing some optimizations like bucketing or partitioning and things. Okay. So and here you have used data lake format. Do you know about Medallion architecture in data lake?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So in Medallion architecture, basically we have three layers. The first one is the bronze layer, then we have the silver layer, and the third is the golden layer. So in the bronze layer, we always keep our raw data, whatever we are getting from the data source. And in the silver layer, we perform some transformations like if any null is present, we discard that null. We use like instead of null, we want some number like zero or one. Like we do this type of transformations in our silver layer, and then in the golden layer we perform like if some like 3 to 4 table has to be joined so that our business requirement should be fulfilled, so we do that process in our golden layer.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Let's start some coding exercise. This is the first round of interview. So I'm sharing you one Google Doc link. Once you open that in your laptop, please share your screen. Problem. I call this problem as curious case of promotions, and these questions was asked in a lot of interview like Apple, Amazon. Okay, so
Mhm.
let's try to understand these problems. So this particular problems consist of three tables. The first table consists of employee, which has columns like employee ID, names, department ID, salary, and hire date. Then
Mhm.
you have departments, department ID, and department name. And the third column is promotions, which has promotion ID, employee ID, and remaining column like promotion date, new salary, and new title.
Mhm.
If you scroll up, we have to find the employee who had the longest time between their hire date and their first promotion date, first promotion from each department.
Okay.
Okay. So let me explain it again, just for the sake of clarity. Okay. So I call this problem as curious case of promotions, and this particular SQL problem is often asked in interview. So it consists of three input tables: employee, department, and promotions. And we have to find the employee who had the longest time between their hire date and their first promotions. Okay. And we have to find from each department. If you scroll down, then in your employee table consists of employee ID, name, department ID, salary when that particular person was hired, and hire date. Same way, department table consists of department ID and department name. And employee and department tables is connected by department ID. Cool.
Mhm.
In the third table, we have columns like promotion ID, employee ID, promotion date, new salary, and new title. And these two promotion table and your employee table is connected by the employee ID columns. I hope you have understood the problems. And we have to find uh, from each department, find the persons who took the longest time to get promoted.
Took the longest time to get promoted.
Yes.
Find the employee who had the longest time between their hire date and their first promotion from each department.
So what will be your first approach?
So here I'm thinking to join the employee table with the promotion table
Okay.
on the basis of employee ID,
Okay.
and from there I'll extract this promotion date.
Okay.
Like I can visualize the table as like here I will be having the promotion date,
Okay.
and this the value of this date, the data would be here,
Okay.
and then I'll use a date diff function to
Okay.
calculate the number of days, and okay, so from here I'll get a date,
Mm-hmm.
and then in from each department. Okay, and then I'll uh, I'll do a join of this employee with this department table,
Okay.
and on the basis of this department ID, and I'll
Okay.
do a group by on the department,
Okay.
because we have to find for each department.
Okay. So do you
And
need to join this table? Department ID is already there in the employee, right? Do you need to join this table till now because you already have the department ID, right? In the employee table itself.
oh yeah, yes, yes. So no, we don't have to join the table.
Okay. Then what will be your next step? So you will have hire date and your promotion date. So what will be your next step?
So I'll use a date diff function, and I'll calculate the number of days, and from
Mm-hmm.
there I'll use a group by on the department ID,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, whoever the person who is taking a longer like longer days, so
Mm-hmm.
that person name will be like that employee ID I'll display.
What will be your group by column?
My group by column would be the department ID.
So if you apply group by on department ID, will you be able to select employee ID after applying group by on department ID?
Yeah.
So if I apply group by on department ID, how I will select employee ID in the select column, like in the select statement?
Yeah, so
Then
here
I
I'll use
Mhm.
so here I will use a like a rank like window function to
Yes,
extract
correct.
my employee ID.
Cool. Will you please write the code?
Sure. So we have employee and the promotion. Select e dot star. Then we just need promotion date. Promotion date from employee and promotions by E join promotion P on the basis of employee ID. Employee ID is equal to P dot employee ID. Okay, so I have the promotion date here. Then I'll use a dative function, dative of E dot promotion date minus E dot hire date. Friends. Okay. So I've calculated the days as well.
Your date D will already provide you days.
Hmm.
Like your date D function will already provide you the date. I got it. Like what you will do next. Let's move on the logic.
Mhm.
What will be your next step after this?
We will use a window functions
So we will do window function. So, mhm.
department ID.
So you will be applying window function on this date function itself.
No.
Will you be like to store this data, like use subquery or CT to store this information, then apply the CT like window function, rank, dense rank or something? Tell me your approach. No need of writing code. So you have done this. You have found the date diff. What next?
So the next approach would be that like I will be partition the data on the basis of department ID,
Okay.
and uh, from there I'll find the max date diff for each department ID, and then I'll display the employee ID, the
So you
person who
will
is
do
having
the
the
partition by like which particular window function you will use? Will you use
yeah,
rank?
yeah, rank. I will be using a rank function so that the person who is having the largest days, that person employee ID would be displayed.
So you will use the rank function and then you will do the partition by on department.
Yes.
Okay, then what will happen?
So from the person who is having I'll do a rank over by the partition by this department ID, and
Hmm.
uh, I'll give order by date div descending,
Okay,
and
cool. Write the code. Write the code.
ID user rank function ID order by date div descending as key from
Okay. What next?
city. No, from city to as this. I'll select the
Where is the
employee.
department information? Do we like to have department ID, then employee ID, then the rank? I want department information also, right? From which department, which particular employee ID, right? So do you like to have in the select query, do you like to have the department ID also?
Select comma department ID.
Cool.
So
Okay, yeah, I got the like approach. Like let's suppose I also wanted to have I would like to have department name. Then what we will do?
like here I'll use a join function with the department table, and from there I'll extract the department name and
Cool, cool. Let's move to the next problem statement. Can you scroll down? Perfect. Okay, so this SQL problem is a continuation of the previous SQL problems, and this is often asked in a big companies like Amazon, Apple, Intuit. So we have seen in the previous SQL problem that we have three tables: employee, department, and promotions. Now we are adding one more column which is like leaves. Okay, and we have to find the employee who have taken the leave just after getting promoted. Okay, we
just
have to find the information of that particular employee. How you will find it? I hope you have understood the problem.
yes.
So let me just explain it again. So SQL problem is very interesting and often asked in a lot of big companies. So we are having four tables. First table is employee, second table is department, third table is promotions, and the fourth table is leave or holiday. We have to find the employee who got promoted and then immediately took a vacation. If you scroll down, so our employee table has employee ID, name, department ID, salary and hire date. And then we have department table, which is department ID and department name. These two tables are connected by department ID foreign key constraint. Then we have promotion tables, which has promotion ID, employee ID, promotion date, and other columns. And this promotions table and employee table is connected by employee ID foreign key constant. Then we have leaves tables, leaves or holiday tables, where which has leave ID, employee ID, leave start and leave end. So we have to use all these table and we have to find the employee who have taken vacations just after getting promoted. This is very interesting problem and actually a funny problem to solve.
uh, find the employee who got promoted and then immediately took a vacation, who got promoted and promoted promotion date and immediately took a vacation. Uh, so here, I'm thinking to join the promotion date, the promotion table with the leave table.
Hmm.
Uh, on the basis
How you
of
will? Okay.
employee ID, and for example, if I imagine here I have a leave start date, and then I can compare, like if here also I will use a dative function, and if the number of days is 0, that
Hmm.
means that person has taken a leave just the day he got promoted.
Cool. And then you will get the, and how you will get the employee information? Like you will again make the join to the employee table, right?
Employee table, yes.
Cool. I got your approach. This is correct. Let's try solving one Python problem. Cool. Will you please scroll down? Okay. Perfect. So you have to write one Python code where given an integer array nums and integer k. If you look to the example one, so I'm having one array and one integer k. So array has 5, 7, 9, 5, and k is equal to 3. We have to return true if there are two distinct indices I and j in the array such that nums I is equal to nums of j, and where you might have used absolute in this is a mathematical functions, right? I absolute of I minus j, that is the indices, should be less than equal to k. So if you check the first example, we are having at indices 0, 5, and indices 0, 1, 2, 3. Indices 3, we are again having 5, right? So we are having duplicate value, and here I minus j and absolute of 0 minus 3 is equal to 3, which is less than k. So we have to say output true. So we have to find the duplicate. Okay, if the array contains duplicate and if their indices, absolute of their indices, like difference of the indices is less than k, then we have to return true. I hope you have understood my problem.
Yes.
How you will solve it? Explain your approach first before writing code.
Mhm. Given an integer array num and an integer k, return true if there are two distinct indices. So, Uncle, just a question, like there can be like two value with a similar like here in this example we have 5 and 5. So, will there be a case that again a 5 is present? Like,
No, once you find the first thing, then you should return true. Don't worry about any other part. Like if your first condition is met, you can return true. No need of transversing, like iterating your array.
okay, if so the basic approach which I can think about here is that like uh, I'll first take this 5 and I'll compare it with the other element. Like I'll traverse the array and I'll compare like if it is equal with any of the other element or not.
Hmm.
If it is equal, I'll take the index of this. Like for example, here we have 5 which is present in the third index, and then from there I'll do a like minus, and I'll
Okay,
check
got
like
it.
if
What will be the complexity of that?
that would be like n square, big O of
Okay,
n square.
let me give you one hint. Can you try using dictionary?
Dictionary 5795.
I hope you know about dictionary. What does dictionary do in Python?
Yeah, like in dictionary we have key and a value. So
Hmm. So how can you use this key and value? And like in dictionary, there cannot be more than like the same key, right? How can you use it?
yes. So I'll just traverse the array and I'll like for the first one, like I'll traverse this 5, then I'll append this 5 in my dictionary, and I'll have one more variable, that is count variable.
Mm-hmm.
and I'll increment that count by 1.
Hmm.
Again
Okay.
for 7, again for 7, like this is a, again for 7, I'll append that 7 in the dictionary and
You will append, or in dictionary you don't append, right? You either create a key value pair. So you will create one key value with the key 7, right?
yes,
And what will be the value of 7?
it will be 1 because
Okay.
for the 1.
Okay. Then what will you will do next? What is your next step?
No, but here I won't be able to save the index.
Why can't you save the index? You can always save the index, right?
There are two distinct I and J in it.
While transversing the array, you will always have, right?
Mhm. So, like if I have an um, dictionary and I make 5, value of 5, 5, 7, 9, 5.
Do it fast. We don't have that much time. Whatever you're thinking, think it loud. Don't think in your mind.
So here I have some confusion that like if I traverse my array and if I use a dictionary, how would I be able to like store
Create
the
a
index?
just a normal, simple solution. Create a dictionary where the key will be your value, like 5. And then you can have, like in your value, you can have one array, right? Which will have one counter, or why to have array? Your value can be the I, right? Like the indices. So let's try creating one dictionary. So in the dictionary, when you have the 5, you will say 5 and the value will be 0, right? Let's try creating the dictionary. Create dictionary there. No, no, just normal dictionary. Just the curly bracket dictionary. Yes. So the first will be 5. Indices, like I am keeping indices, right? 0. Perfect. Now, and every times when I'm iterating the my for loop, I will check if I this particular value exists in my dictionary or not. And searching in dictionary is very very fast, right? It's the O of 1. So
Mm.
now I will go 7. So 7 is not present. I will do 7 0, 7 1, right? Like the indices, like not 7. The value the key, yeah. Again 9, and 9 will be 2 because 9 does not exist,
Mm.
right? Perfect. Then while I will try inserting like this time 5. So I will firstly check if the 5
And
exists. Yes, 5 exists. Yes. If 5 exists, what is the value of it is 0. And what is my current index? It is 3. So
3.
what is 0 minus 3 and absolute value? It is 3.
3.
So it will I will return true, right? Was it a very hard problem to solve? No, no.
No.
Cool. Okay, let's try stop sharing your screen. We will try like checking your understanding about other things. Cool. So you have told me that you have used Spark a lot for doing multiple transformations, right? So
Mhm.
just help me to understand how do you optimize your Spark code? What is your approach?
Yep. So whenever we are reading the data, we the first thing which we do is to filter the unnecessary data or columns which are not required.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second thing is that like whenever we find some of the table which are smaller enough compared to the other one, like which is less than 10 MB of data, we have a like we usually use a broadcast join so that we reduce the shuffling of the data. The third thing is that we try to optimize use action as far as possible, and even we have used cache and persist as well so that we don't do the repetitive work like repetitive transformations like if any other action is called, so that we don't do that repetitive work, we have also used a cache and persist. uh, and again for like while reading the data, we have also used partition by, so that we don't have to read all the data, like whatever the data which are required. For example, we have done a partition on the country column. Then for like it doesn't read the data from all the country, whatever the country in which we are interested in. It just read that data from that part. Yes.
Got it. So you have told me that you have used Airflow and Glue in your some of your data engineering pipeline. Where you have used AWS Glue and AWS Athena in your pipeline?
So yes, so basically when we save the data while doing the transformation, we save the data in the S3 location. Like while querying or while doing a testing, we use Athena. So we read the data from the S3, and Glue is used to define the schema, and then we query the data in the Athena. Like
Okay. So you have just used Glue for the metadata management. Am I right?
yes,
Do you know that Glue can be even used for as a serverless Spark to run your ETL pipeline?
yes,
So, and have you also used EMR?
yes, we have used AMR.
So, what is the difference between EMR and Glue? If both are serving the same thing, why AWS has these two different things? Like why they have EMR and why they also have the Glue?
So on Glue, we like generally like for smaller process, like for smaller ETL process, we usually use Glue, not the EMR, because while using the EMR, we have to set up some infrastructure as well. But for the larger like data pipeline, or for the larger like complex pipeline, we have to use a EMR, because Glue doesn't support that like
Because Glue does
like
not
that.
support or Glue comes with a lot of extra cost than using a
Yeah,
simple EMR cluster.
yeah, it comes with extra cost than compared to the EMR. So we usually perform the heavy tasks on the EMR, not on the AWS.
So, have you also used AWS Lambda?
No, I haven't used AWS Lambda.
So, which all AWS data stack you have used apart from Athena and Glue and EMR and S3? Have you used any other thing?
Yes, no, like I've used EMR, EC2, and S3, Glue, and Athena.
Okay. So you told me AC2. What does AC2 actually defines in AWS?
So EC2 is basically, it creates a virtual machine which we use. So whenever there is a requirement, how many virtual machine is like do we require? So we create a EC2. Like it
Whi-
provide us the virtual machines.
Which all like do you know about different type of EC2 machines? Like how many cores of machines you usually use?
Like we usually use like 4 to 6 worker.
Okay. So what is the difference between client mode and cluster mode of deployment in Apache Spark?
Yeah. So client mode is basically the like when we in client mode, basically we have the driver in our client machine. For example, we can think a client machine as our laptop, and in that we have a driver machine, and
Mhm.
whatever the Spark the Spark job which we are submitting, it uses our local resources. While for the cluster mode, the driver node is present in some of the worker node. From there, like whenever we submit our Spark job, the that job is submitted to that worker node where driver machine is present. And also, the advantage of cluster mode is that, for example, there can be a case that our local machine gets shut down, or if any mishappen happens, that also stop mm, our job. But in case of client cluster mode, we don't have this, even if our system shut down, it doesn't do any
Okay, got it.
it
So
doesn't hamper.
got it. Okay. So, have you heard about, like, do you know about application managers, resource manager? Now, what is the significance of Yarn, Mesos, or even Kubernetes? Like, when you have your Spark cluster, what is the significance of all these three things? Like your resource
So
manager, application managers. and then your and yarn.
Yeah. So, Yan is basically our resource manager. So, basically, when we submit our Spark job, first, like when we submit our Spark job, we usually mention the number of executor or how many memory we want in the executor. So what
Mm-hmm.
it does is that like whenever we write a Spark application, we first create a Spark session. So that Spark session, like it communicate with the one that is our resource manager, and it tells that we want this number of executor and this number of executor memory.
Mm-hmm.
From there, like the resource manager, which is our Yan, it creates that number of executor and the number of executor memory in the different worker nodes, and it also create a driver in one of the worker nodes. So now this driver node, it communicate with the executor which is present on the different worker nodes. And now like in the driver node we have an application manager as well. So now this application manager helps the driver to communicate with the different worker nodes, so that it can communicate with the executor, and the driver communicate with the different executor to like it assign different tasks to the executor, and whatever the task which executor perform, it like it returns the data to the driver machine. And
Okay, got it. So, what is a job, stage, and task in Apache Spark? And how does Spark determine that it has to create a new job or it has to further create a new stage? And what is task in Apache Spark?
so yep, so the task is basically the transformations we are using. For example, if we are using filter, so filter is a task. So when it comes to stage, so for stage, like we have two type of transformation. One is narrow transformation and the other is the wide transformations. So the narrow transformation is like the filter, the map, the map transformation. And whenever we use a reduce by the group by, we use a that is a wide transformation. So whenever we use a wide transformation, there is a creation of another stage. For example, if I use a group by, the another stage will be created.
Why does that happen?
It happens because like group by is a as I told you that group by is a wide transformation, so data shuffling is happens there. So for that
Mhm.
purpose, it create another stage. And for action, like when it
No, no. Let's try to discuss here. If it is creating another stage, how does it benefit? How does it get benefited?
so the first stage, like whatever the data or whatever the tasks we have done in the first stage, it store the data in the disk, and from that disk, the reduce by or the other stage read the data.
Is it
So
correct?
yes, that like the first stage, whatever the narrow transformations we have used, that data is stored in the disk, and from that the group by the other stage, it read the data from that disk.
And when does the new job created?
The new job is created whenever we call function like actions. Like for example, if we use two times the count function or save as text file function, then job is created. The number
Okay.
of actions we call.
So you told me that it saves on disk. So why? But Spark says that its market. It thinks that I do competition in memory. I am better than MapReduce because I have less IO, right? So if it is saving on disk, how does it say that I am faster because I do most of my things in memory? What does that mean?
Yes. So basically, like it saves the data in memory, or if the amount of data is very huge, like if it is not able to fit in the memory, we also use a like it also saves some amount of data in the disk. So
Cool.
so
Hmm. Yeah, got it, Pragya. I'm done with my interview, Pragya. You have done good. Do you have any questions before we wrap up this interview?
No, Ankur.
Cool. Okay. Thank you, Pragya. Thank you for your time. We will get back to you.